Right now is your all signs reading for the next 3 months. Joining me today is the talented and highly intuitive Chris Reck from Minnow Pond Tarot. Hi, Chris.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How's everybody doing
Good.
out there with this energy? Chris, how did this recent new moon treat you?
Yeah, I didn't even notice it. This one.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
that's a good point. And maybe it's just too soon too, because
Yeah,
I heard
yeah,
so
that could
many.
be.
Yeah, so many astrologers were saying that this is such a great new moon. This is so
Yeah,
wonderful. Like, this is kind of the beginning of 2025. But then it just kind of happened. Like,
yeah.
I think there's so many other energies going on out there that we're feeling too. Like, we just had Saturn move into
Mm,
Aries this past
yeah.
Saturday. Did you feel that at all?
I don't think so yet.
Mm-hmm.
Which is surprising for me because it is my second house, so I think usually I feel that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I haven't felt it yet. Which actually, like, I'm like a little bit worried about because like the way that I saw it as like I need to know what to do on this day, so I can get started right away.
Right.
With that Saturn energy, and it's like I'm looking for that inspiration, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do feel like we're going to see so many people changing directions with their
Oh yeah,
career and their work, don't you?
yeah.
Have you been thinking about doing any changes with your work? Or are you looking at things differently?
Yeah, definitely looking at things differently, and but not really changing. But yeah, definitely, like, I look at it as like a leveling up energy, and looking for just new ways of doing things. That's pretty much what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and I think we all need to be thinking that way too, just the new
Yeah,
way, right? And so,
yeah.
everybody that's watching live in the chat, hello. If you're watching later in the comments, first let us know where you're tuning in from, and also let us know, have you been thinking about moving in a new direction with your work? If you're retired, have you been thinking about just changing up your lifestyle, like maybe
Hmm.
moving or starting a new hobby? I'd love to hear from everybody because I think it's a great way to, just see what's going on in the collective, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the things we're going to see happen in the energy over the next 3 months before we dive into the all signs reading here. We will be definitely doing timestamps after. I'll try to hop on here and do a timestamp for you guys so you can come back as many times as you want over the next 3 months. Last time Chris was on my channel last month, we had a lot of fun doing this time next year. So check that out if you missed it,
Hmm.
because this is going to add to that energy, what we're hearing here. But it's really interesting because that was a peaceful, beautiful new moon in a lot of ways, but then it also kind of felt like it got missed, at least at this point, like you said. But it
Hmm.
could have been because of that Saturn. So what we have going on in June is we have Jupiter moving out of Taurus. I'm sorry, out of Gemini into Cancer. So Jupiter moved out of Taurus last year into Taurus, and I'm sorry, where is my brain? Gemini, and maybe it's because of Gemini. I'm all over the
Right.
place.
It could be.
It's at the end of Gemini right now. And it's going to be moving into Cancer. And since Jupiter spends about 1 year in each zodiac sign, sometimes a little more, you want to kind of think about the 11 to 12 years ago when Jupiter was in Cancer the last time. What was going on for you in that area of your life? Because you're going to already start to see that energy now. I know for me personally, I was already feeling it moving towards where I have Cancer in my chart and what was going
Mm.
on for me. So start thinking about that now, if you guys can, about what was going on for you about 11 or 12 years ago. And I love what you always say, Chris, about a lot of times you don't see the effects of Jupiter until after it's left a sign, right?
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Yeah. So you may
Yeah.
actually not, you may be starting to feel the effects of Jupiter and Gemini once Jupiter goes into Cancer, and then we're working on
Yeah.
Cancer with that expansion. Yeah. So that'll be a good energy though, to have it go in, and that's on June 9th that it moves into Cancer. And then the next big thing we have coming up in the next 3 months is Uranus moving into Gemini. So we have Jupiter going out of Gemini and Uranus going in, and this is on July 7th. So, what do you think that's energy is going to feel like, Uranus and Gemini?
Electricity,
Yeah.
electric, kind of like a lot of buzzing, I think that it's also like, that TV show Severance.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so like that's how I think the next and between now and 2033 is going to be like you're going to have like two lives, right? And
Wow.
you're going to have like one where you're like it's your real life and you're going to have this other life that feels disconnected from your real life, but it almost doesn't seem real. And I think that escaping the matrix is going to be the trick here with the severance energy.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that's such a good example. I was listening to Gary Vee
Yeah.
this morning. I was telling you this morning. And Gary Vee, he's very in your face about things, people who aren't willing to evolve with the time.
Yeah.
But he was talking about like right now we have people who are dating virtual like avatars.
People, yes.
Yes. And it's just like so hard to wrap your mind around it. But that's kind of that similar energy. It's like they have this virtual life and then they have their real life, and it's very much like the severance. And so the idea for us, all of us light workers and all of us here together, is to keep reminding people that you're not part of the you can break out of it, like you said. And I think there's going to be new ways to do it, but you can't just bury your head in the sand and go, oh, AI is terrible, or I refuse to change, I'm going to live off the grid, because it's changing whether you want to be a part of it or not, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's not, I mean, I think that's the thing with Gemini energy sometimes too, is like not all good or bad, it's both.
Yeah.
So, it's like both things are true at the same time with Gemini. So, yeah. And I think that's the hardest part about Gemini, right?
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's true. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And, it's funny too. I was thinking too about like back in like the 2002 to 2007 era. It was very taboo to date somebody you met online. And now it's pretty much the only way people date, right? And
yeah, pretty much.
So we have to watch our words here now, because in 2033, we might all have an online
virtual girlfriends.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Yes.
We'll see. We're going to break out of that matrix there. One thing I thought was really interesting, I wanted to hear your thoughts on too, Chris, is on July 4th, we have Neptune going retrograde. Now, it recently just moved into Aries, right?
Aries.
So this is a first time we as a collective have been alive for this. And what's interesting is it happens on July 4th, the United States Independence date. And their birth chart, our birth chart, has Uranus and Gemini and Jupiter and Cancer. So those planets will be back there for this Neptune retrograde. So I'm getting like a wonky energy off of the start of July. It's almost like it does feel like a little bit of an illusion. And then with that Gemini energy, what do you feel for that?
I think it's a preview for next year, because I think it's like 3 degrees is really America's birthday. Uranus in Gemini 3 degrees, which I think is July next year, is going to be Uranus at 3 degrees. Okay. And so I think it's like a little bit of a preview that we'll be getting for next year.
Right. That's why it's so good to be paying attention to the future energies and then what's going on now, so you can shift, right? It's not like anything's like we have to do anything that we don't want to do. It's more about just visualizing where you want to be. Because also in July, we have Neptune, Saturn, Mercury, and Chiron all go retrograde. So that's kind of like, again, we just came out of that huge retrograde cycle, but I think it's going to feel different. Don't you? These planets, like the outer planets, I don't think it's going to be as big a deal.
Yeah, I don't think outer planets are that big of a deal for retrogrades. They're so far away, know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it almost gives, like, at least here in the northern hemisphere, it almost gives you an opportunity to feel feel summer, because the energy is like slowing down. And you can kind of, exactly. Because, of course, we have Mercury retrograde multiple times a year. So that's normal. Yeah. We all know what that feels like. It actually retrogrades on July 17th this year. That happens to be my birthday, my solar return. And
happy birthday.
Thank you. And then it doesn't go direct till August. So we may actually really, truly feel this opportunity to kind of breathe a sigh of relief, I feel like, over the next 3 months with that.
Yeah, I've been saying, like, I think craziness starts in September. So, I'm not, like, I think the summer is will be normal-ish,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we're going to do all 12 signs here. We're going to pull 3 cards each for all of you guys and get a read on it. And like I said, don't forget that you can also go check out our This Time Next Year video that we did last fall. It's linked below. And the one for next spring summer time that we did last month, because putting it all together, it's all about putting the puzzle pieces together, right, Chris?
Yeah.
All right, well, before we dive into these signs, Chris, is there anything you want to mention? Oh, I should just mention for everybody, make sure you are checking out Chris's website, chrisrec.com. Of course, go give him a follow. His channel, Chris Rec, here on YouTube, and his Minopon Tarot. I'm sure you're already following him. He's the best tarot reader out there. I listen to all 12 signs. It's so helpful. But since what we were talking about earlier with the Gary V thing and things changing, now is the time to start taking on these projects that you've always dreamed about. We're done waiting around for these changes. And Chris, you have so many free tutorials and information on there to get started, especially if you're somebody that doesn't even know what you want to do. You just know you're kind of bored with what you're current doing, right, Chris?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah, so I've learned so much from you, Chris. I continue to learn from you. So if you've ever even just had the inkling that you might want to write a book or you might want to start a podcast or a YouTube channel, check out chrisrec.com. It's linked below, and definitely give him a follow at the links below as well. All righty. Well, thanks, Chris. Thanks again for being here. This is always so fun. I guess I will pull up the Aries energy first so we can get started with you guys having all these changes coming into your signs. All righty. Chris, what are you getting for the next 3 months for Aries?
Aries, I mean, come on. There's no surprise here. You start with the Fool, the Five of Wands, and the King of Swords. The Fool, with that Saturn moving into Aries, definitely time to get started with the Fool card. And, Saturn and Aries in your own sign is like literally forcing you to get started on things. I feel this is true for everyone, by the way. And but I would be careful of perfectionism with the Five of Wands. We have that, the South Node in Virgo, and we have that eclipse in Virgo. It just, I don't know, Aries. I think that perfectionist, like if you're trying to make something perfect, it's really going to slow you down. I'm not even getting like competition or anything like that with the Five of Wands. I'm just getting perfectionism. So I would avoid that. I think that's true for everyone. I think everyone, it's like, there's a saying, money loves speed, right? So I think that, yeah, you could make a lot of mistakes this summer, but also, like when you're right, you'll be right. The King of Swords knows everything. And I feel that you know enough to be dangerous here, Aries. So I would get started.
Oh, that matches a lot with what I'm getting for Aries for the next 3 months. Because at first I have the Five of Fire here, which of course is the Five of Wands in tarot. And I am seeing that as you decide to go ahead and initiate these new things, Aries, you might find yourself in some conflict, which is not necessarily new to you guys. But it's because what you're being asked to do. We have this, I'm using this deck from Sedona, Arizona. We have a Sage card here. It says Hearts, Desires, Manifesting. And it's really wanting you to just be willing to go through this conflict and rise above it in order to follow these things that you want to do. It's not that you're afraid of the conflict. It's that you just go through it sometimes without realizing, like, why am I doing this? And also, I got the Communicate Clearly card too for the Aries. So I feel like you're going to have to speak up with a lot of people, which might be why this Five of Wands energy is coming in for you for the next 3 months. But you're ultimately going to be really grateful that you stand up for what you want. And I'm curious, are you getting anything else on this Five of Fire card for Aries?
Yeah, it immediately popped into my head. I was scrolling. I was trying to fall asleep last night, scrolling Instagram, and I saw this quote. I'm going to butcher it. I don't remember the quote, but it was basically like cats have to stop eating rats if they want to be lions. And I was like, damn, that is a good one.
That is really good.
I think that is what Aries needs to do. It literally popped into my head when you pulled up the Five of Wands, that quote that I heard last night. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what Aries needs to do. It's like, if you're still doing the old habits, like the old things that you are just like playing small, then you're going to have a hard time. I think if you start playing big, then big things will happen.
Yeah, I love that energy. I am getting, like, with that Communicate Clearly card too. I mean, that's going to be for all of us with Uranus moving into Gemini.
Yeah.
But it's just be willing to do that, even if it causes conflict. Of course, there's always like a tactical way to handle that. But it's not that you're afraid of it. It's that you just need to do it bigger, it feels like, right?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Awesome. I love that for Aries. All right. Let me pop off the Aries sign and do Taurus. What do we have for the next 3 months for Taurus?
Taurus, you have the Five of Pentacles, the Two of Cups, and the King of Cups. Really pretty good. I mean, Five of Pentacles can represent feeling left out in the cold, but Taurus has had, in my readings at least, like secret love coming up. So, there could be like surprise love coming in for you with the Two of Cups, but this is like about being more connected to your higher self, the Two of Cups, and King of Cups is being more connected to your emotions. So, getting out of the woe is me energy here, Taurus, and like focusing more on connecting with both your higher self and your emotions. I think that's what will lead to movement. King of Cups, the thing about King of Cups is he really does represent movement. He has this boat behind him, and the boat kind of represents traveling into the unknown. He has to go places he's never done before or been before to get what he wants. So, I kind of feel that for a lot of you. It's like time to get out of this energy. I do think, again, I'm kind of cheating a little bit because for years I've been saying to Taurus, I think that they have to be like 10,000 times more bolder or more brave or something. It's like they have to get out of that bullpen, that the bullpen being their traumas from the past and things like that. Like if I were a Taurus, that's all I'd be focusing on.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I did pull the life experience card from this deck, which is, of course, the Tower deck. I love the Tower card. I love how you always say you usually see this as a positive card. And when you were talking about getting out of the bullpen, that's exactly what I was feeling, too, because it's almost like you've gotten too comfortable in your trauma. It's time to, be willing to break out of that. That might be a little uncomfortable, but it's going to be worth it because what you also have coming up is the Juniper card here from the Sedona deck says stand strong. Taurus says you are strong. You are strong, but I am still getting that image of the bull standing up and barreling through that pen and getting out of these old ways of doing things, these old cycles. I feel like they're really ending for good. I mean, you have had Uranus in your sign for a very long time, so maybe that's a lot of what I'm feeling too, is that you're done with this Uranus being in your sign, and now you're going to be asked to stand on your own feet here in a big way. And then I do have this peaceful resolution card too. So I feel like there's some conflict you've been dealing with over the last 12 months or so. And maybe it recently came to a head and you're going to find some kind of resolution to that. I do think for some Tauruses, it's because they're doing a career change and they weren't quite sure how to leave their old job behind or leave an old project behind or old collaboration, but they're going to find a peaceful resolution, I think. So anything else coming up for you for Tauruses?
Yeah, I think back to the being brave thing with the Two of Cups. It is like your higher self is encouraging you to move forward, Taurus. So I think you have support, and I think Taurus needs to believe that.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. Okay, great. Let's move on to the Geminis. What are you getting for the Geminis for the next 3 months?
Gemini looks good. You have the Eight of Wands, the King of Wands, and the Queen of Cups. So charging forward with that Eight of Wands, quick success. I did your reading this morning, Gemini, and it was all about this. Eight of Wands is my card of creating a slip and slide in life, like looking at all the things that are slowing you down and either getting rid of those things, smoothing those things out, or making them easier. There are always going to be things we have to do we don't want to do. But Eight of Wands says, even if you have to, focus on like one tiny little thing about something you don't want to do that is good, that's what I would be doing there. King of Wands, embracing your confidence, being more bold, assertive, confident, which is apparently that's going to come up for everybody today. And Queen of Cups is like following your heart. But I feel like Gemini is like very connected this summer. So I don't know. It just looks like I want to say smooth sailing for Gemini here.
Yeah, I definitely resonates with what I got because I got the world card here for Geminis for the next 3 months. And I mean, this is kind of your time to shine. I mean, happy birthday season, by the way.
Yep.
But, Jupiter's leaving your sign. So you should start to see some of the rewards from that over the next 12 months or so. And, you have Uranus going into your sign, which means you're going to be, there's the spotlight's on you. I also have this Desert Breeze card from the Sedona deck, and it says force. So it could be that you're going to have to force yourself to buckle down and make a decision on something, especially like what you were saying. I was also hearing how you always talk about making things have less friction in them, Chris, you know? And so that's what I'm feeling too, is that there's, it's just like you have to pick something you want to do and do everything you can around that to have less friction. Like you and I both do this. I learned this from you. When we sit down to record for our YouTube channels, we pretty much only hit one or two buttons, right? It's like
Yep.
you sit down and you hit go, and everything's
Yeah.
already hooked up, and that kind of a thing, where it's like one less thing I have to do before I'm finally creating that content. And I'm feeling that for the Geminis. I also have the wait card here though too. So I think what I'm feeling with this card is there are projects that you're excited about doing, but you first need to wait until you've made something else you're doing have less friction. It's almost like you don't have space for those things yet. So wait before you start something new, and instead focus on how you can remove the friction. So does anything else come up for you with those cards for Gemini?
Yeah, Eight of Wands is all about completion. So, it definitely could be true that they have to like complete, like close one thing out. So it's not a monkey on their back and they can, move on to the next thing. So that would make a lot of sense.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So moving on to Cancers. What are you getting for Cancers for the next 3 months?
Cancer, you have the 10 of Wands, the 6 of Swords, and the 10 of Swords. So, this would be like number one, Cancer. I would definitely be looking at responsibilities that aren't yours with the 10 of Wands and the 10 of Swords showing up here. The 10 of Wands is like carrying a heavy burden. 6 of Swords is good. The 10 of Swords, I kind of feel like this is more stop going back to the past or stop living in the past type of energy. And, as in, it's like there might be, and maybe this is a water thing as well right now. Maybe water signs are saying like, I wish it could be this way, or it's like you have some apple of your eye from the past, but it's like a rotten apple now. And you need to like realize that with the 10 of Swords is that, there were maybe a lot of great things that you've experienced, but at the same time, the 6 of Swords is, the hopes of a brighter future. They are moving across the choppy waters for the hopes of an improvement. So I think you need to realize that you haven't experienced the best that you could yet. And, maybe that's what this needs to be released.
Oh, I really like what you said, that you haven't experienced the best yet. And then Jupiter's moving into your sign, Cancer. So Jupiter's here to bring you that. But you've got to let go of that thing in the past that you keep getting upset about. Because we have the 8 of Water card, or 8 of Cups for Cancer here. And it's really, you're ready to move on from those things. I think you're second guessing whether you're ready, second guessing whether you've fully healed it. And maybe even possibly second guessing some of the people in your life, I feel like, but it's like there's new people in your life, Cancers, like, oh my gosh. And I can speak from my own personal experience as a Cancer sun sign, but the changes in my social circles and my groups and my friends since 2016, 2017 are just gigantic. And we've all faced that a lot, but Cancers, there are new people coming into your life right now. I actually have, for the Sedona deck, I have Alien, which is a cute little card here. And it says visitor, tourist, or alien. So maybe you are planning to travel this summer and you're going to be coming across someone new in your life, or you're just the fact that you're having people visit you or new people come into your life, that's going to be shifting for you, because then I also have the remain positive card here too. So I think that it's just been a little hard for you guys, and so I'm calling myself out here too, to truly let go of the past and not expect the same outcome. It's like, let's expect the good outcome, right? So what are you getting for Cancers? Yeah,
it's like, the 10 of Swords is a blessing in disguise. He's making a symbol right here that represents a blessing. But with the 6 of Swords, it's like you're not going to get the blessing unless you move on, know? So, I mean, that's basically what that's saying.
Yeah, I can't really get much clearer than that. Calling the Cancers out, right?
Yep.
All right. For the Leos, what do we have for the next 3 months for the Leos?
Leo, you have the Ace of Cups, the Knight of Swords, and the 8 of Swords. Could be a love offer for some of you with the Ace of Cups there. Knight of Swords would say, like, don't rush. 8 of Swords says, like, don't stay stuck, of course, as well. We do have Neptune retrograding back into Aries, or back into Pisces this year. And, this kind of reminds me of that Neptune and Pisces energy. I think it's like easy under Neptune and Pisces to get sucked into the fantasy, not the reality of a connection. And I would just like make sure that you're like, I don't think this is bad, but I would just make sure you're not getting stuck in something that's more like fantasy based, but there's no reality to it. And again, that's not a bad thing. You could find something that could go both directions, right? So it's about making sure it becomes real. But could be a love offer. No rushing with the Knight of Swords. Leo always gets this card with me. And I'm always saying that the Nine of Swords is jumping to conclusions, and when we shouldn't. So I wouldn't. Eight of Swords, as always with Leo, literally since like the very first video I did for Leo on my channel 10 years ago, over 10 years ago now, they had the Eight of Spades, which when I was reading playing cards, which is the Eight of Swords. So I think that Leos have to kind of see that there are a million ways to do anything that they want to do, and to set themselves free.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you keep saying about being stuck, because I have the Four of Earth card here. And as you can see on this particular card, she's literally stuck in her material surroundings. But it's like there is a way out of that. But if you're like just assuming there is no way out, then you're not going to see the new possibilities. Because I also have for the Sedona deck, we have Bell Rock, and it says possibilities on there. So just like you said, there is a way out. There is a way towards the financial and material success you're wanting. But I'm also getting the not the right time card, which supports what you were getting, Chris, about not rushing with the Knight of Swords and not assuming. And that's what we all, have to watch out for anyways. All 12 signs is, making assumptions and assuming that it's not going to work out, or there isn't a way out. So definitely for the next 3 months for the Leos, I feel like, again, I've been getting this for you guys all year anyways, but it's almost like you have to focus on the things that make you feel nurtured and loved, and then you'll find the way out when it comes to material resources and things. Is there anything else coming up for you with those?
Yeah, I mean that is the Ace of Cups. So I think that they have to like follow their heart. It's like I do think Leos have had money challenges for years, and so it's like they're always chasing money. But it's like your heart is probably telling you the thing you need to do to actually get the money. So I would move towards your heart.
Yeah, and that's just true for all 12 signs. We all need to be moving in that heart-based direction. It's funny. I just happened to watch that Gary Vee video this morning, so that's why it keeps popping into my head. But he was laughing about like, well, you can't just follow your heart. You have to actually like do things, and it's like, it's both. It's both. But like we've been conditioned. Society has conditioned us over the centuries that it doesn't matter what your heart wants. Just get the job done. Like go to school, work for 60 years, retire, and then die. I mean, that's what we've been conditioned to do there. All right. What do you have for the next 3 months for the Virgos?
Virgo looks really good. You have the Six of Cups, Six of Pentacles, and the Seven of Wands. I love 2 6s. To me, it's like confirmation for your path or whatever you're doing. So I'm a big fan of that for you. It could be like a much more childlike energy. Six of Pentacles, I'm just getting fairness. I feel like you feel that maybe like the world is being more fair to you, or you feel like things are working out a little bit better in your favor. That's more what I get off that Six of Pentacles here. And the Seven of Wands is conviction, which I definitely think Virgo should be doing. It's like if you're doing something new with your life, it's like you have to believe it, because if you don't, then I think the people in Virgo's life also won't. But if you really believe it, then they will believe you. And I think, part of the summer for Virgo, I think that's what I think it is. It's like, getting people on your side. And maybe that's what Virgo is really focused on with these cards.
That makes a lot of sense with what I'm getting too for the next 3 months for Virgos.
Yeah.
We have the Three of Air card, and I am getting that recently you've gone through some kind of loss. And a lot of these next 3 months are going to be about you taking the time to heal. But the healing is going to come from doing something you absolutely love, because you also have the Sun card here, and it says joy is healing. So by pursuing joy every single day, that's going to be bringing the healing in for you. And it's really going to bring in the abundance. We've got the abundance card here. So it is also something through your work. If you're retired, it's something you're wanting to leave as a legacy, but there's something you're doing that is actually creating the healing. And I always like to say, what I was taught by my guides one day was that transformation follows creativity. So you can literally just go be creative, and you will find that transformation and that healing come through there. And for some of you Virgos, I think you're going to be like actually, I guess doing some self-discovery around the healing that's going to be part of the creative project that's going to bring in this Sun card here. So yeah, definitely lots of playtime, lots of joy time for Virgos. I know you like to get your entire to-do list done before 8 a.m. so that you can finally relax, right? At 10 p.m. Yeah. But really and truly, it's going to be about finding joy throughout the day. And that's going to be what brings the healing in. So anything else coming up for you for Virgos?
Yeah, I mean, that's the Six of Cups, like love, joy, happiness, your inner child, embracing those things. But also perfectionism, like we said earlier. So, letting go of that perfectionist need and being more creative with the North Node in Pisces.
Love it. I love that for Virgos. All right. Moving on to the Libras. What do you have for the next 3 months for the Libras, Chris?
Libra, you have the Six of Pentacles. They just changed decks for Libra. And so you have the Six of Pentacles, the Temperance card, and the Two of Cups. So Six of Pentacles, more fairness, more balance. I think Libra is starting new things. Probably not this month, next month, July. For whatever reason, July feels just like more action. I think that June could be a little bit more introspective for Libra in general. And then it's like July, it's like you take this introspective time in June, and then July, you're kind of like taking action on things that you want to create. And also could be love coming in for Libra with the Two of Cups. So I think a lot of Libras could be finding love. Could be a fire sign.
It's interesting. I've been getting that all year about the Libras. And for some Libras, it is not necessarily love in a romantic relationship. It's love for their work. So if you're already in a romantic relationship you're not looking for, it could be love for something you're leaving behind as a legacy, or love for some new direction you're headed. And I also do feel like for Libras that you've been waiting around to have this recognition for a long time too. So it's like it's finally coming. So I have the Three of Earth card here for Libras for the next 3 months. And so it is about being recognized for your creative work. It's about being a team player. It really is, it's like the creativity that you innately have in you is there's going to be an opportunity to finally be recognized for it. I also have the Night Sky card here from the Sedona deck. I'm really loving this deck. I haven't used it that much, but it says hope and guidance. And so I'm literally seeing you guys spending a lot of time sitting outside and looking up at the stars for, calling in that connection and calling in that recognition. And then I also have the Be Assertive card. So I think you also need to ask for this recognition for the work you're doing. And if you are looking for a romantic partner, I think you need to call that partner in and say, I'm ready. Because I do think a lot of Libras have been on the fence about whether they want to start a new relationship or start a new collaboration or move in a new direction with their career or something. But this is the time now, I feel like, for summer. Anything else you're getting for the Libras?
Yeah, I did Libra's reading today, and they had a ton of stuff about recognition. So I definitely think that's something that's coming for them. But you said asking, it's like Six of Pentacles is basically saying he is making the investment in that one person. It's like he is doing the thing, he is committing to it. And maybe that's what they have to do is decide.
Yeah, I do. I feel that. It's like, so we're calling out the Libras too. You got to get off the fence. So yeah, I love that. All right, moving on. What do you get for the next 3 months for the Scorpios?
Scorpio, you have the Ten of Swords, the Death card, and the Lovers. I actually feel pretty good about that Ten of Swords too, because I think Scorpios have had a tough time, and Ten of Swords to Death is kind of like finally having the transformation. This guy is dead, but he is not deciding to be dead. He is just like laying there with those 10 swords in his back. And so the Death card says that you are deciding to transform. You are deciding to undergo the change that could bring something into your life. The Lovers could be love, but I also think it could be a choice for Scorpio to go left or right. The Lovers traditionally was a card of the choice, and it's a pretty simple card, because I always say the choice to make on the Lovers is the new path. So a lot of Scorpios are like moving in a new direction.
Yeah, I love that. Well, you can't make this stuff up. I got the Lovers card as well for the Scorpios. And, it is interesting because all year I've been getting for the Scorpios that it's really important to be willing to stand in the spotlight and really let people see your work and what you're wanting. And maybe it is being willing to start a new relationship if it is somebody that, if you are looking for love in your life, but it could also just be love for your work, similar to what we were getting for the Libras and the Scorpios. And you know what I love you always say, Chris, and I totally agree with you. If you're listening to Intuitive and they're constantly dramatically changing the messages you get like day to day or week to week, that's a little bit hard to trust because the energy doesn't change that quickly. And so I've just been getting these always repeating cards about that. For the Sedona deck, I have San Francisco Peaks. It says Sacred Magic. So yeah, you guys, you are very good at tapping into that inner wisdom and turning it, using magic to turn it into something good. But it's like you actually have to put it out there in that bigger way. So that's why I've been getting a lot about standing in the sun, standing in the spotlight. Like we always joke on with my audience about how the Scorpios like their cold, rainy days sitting on the couch in the corner in the dark corner. And it's like, no, you guys are going to have to get out here. Now, I do have within the next few months, which is literally the topic of this show here. So you've been hearing all year, if you've been here on my channel and probably from Chris too, that it's time to get out there. Yeah. So you need to be doing that right now with this energy, and the energy is going to support you, because you always say this too, Chris, that right now is water signs are coming online and we're being asked to be leaders, right? So what else are you getting for the Scorpios with these cards?
Yeah, and the sun is coming up on the death card in between the two pillars that are on the moon here. So I do think the sun is coming to shine its light on Scorpio, but they have to like step into the light. Scorpions, they are nocturnal animals. Yeah. So, it is definitely time for them to come out into the light. Don't be like a vampire, Scorpio.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. All right. Moving on to the Sagittariuses. What are you getting for the next 3 months for the Sages?
Sag has the Seven of Pentacles, the Empress, and the Four of Cups, which is really good for growth and abundance. Seven of Pentacles is a change in direction. I think most Sagittariuses have already changed work. I know a bunch of Sagittariuses, and like literally all of them at once. I look at my Facebook feed and they like all got new jobs and stuff like that. I'm like, what's going on for Sag? So I think a lot of Sages have gotten new positions or are growing into a new position even, that could increase your abundance with the Empress energy. Four Cups, I think, is about needing to believe it, which I think a lot of people are going to have a problem with right now, is believing that you actually are the thing that you say. That's part of the thing I think with Saturn and Aries is like we need to be loud and we need to tell the truth, but our truth, right? So I think that Sagittarius needs to like claim something, but like really claim it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And, it popped into my mind too. I'll get to it when I get to the card, but I mean, I think it's about, empowering both your divine feminine and your, divine masculine in a way that you haven't before. And like kind of setting an example with that. I agree. I think I've seen a lot of Sagittarius is already beginning to move in a different direction, or at least knowing that they've got to, because otherwise it's just not going to end. And so I have the 10 of Water card here, right? Which is, it's a contented and rewarding family life. It's trustworthy relationships. It's a really, really, emotionally secure place to be. And so I think, like you said, a lot of these Sages are moving and changing careers so that they're away from that environment that was just rattling them or draining them or toxic, So I'm really seeing a lot of Sages move away, and just maybe some of you are starting to get jobs where you can work from home too. I'm getting that too. And it's like going to create more of a balance. But also, like I was getting with that energy for the Sedona deck, I have the Oak Creek card, which says feminine energy and intuition. And that's, again, what I'm seeing is that you really are going to be setting an example about bringing that balance in and just really trusting your intuition about where you're being guided. And then you have these big happy changes cards. So maybe you just made this change, or you've been thinking about making this big change, and you're going to see this coming to fruition in the next 3 months. And I think it's going to be really positive, because you've been told all year, really, with the energy I've been seeing for Sag, is like, stop waiting to move in the direction that makes your heart bloom, that makes you really grow. Because it's like you've been stuck in these either dead-end jobs or dead-end relationships or dead-end projects. And it's like the direction is the direction that lets you grow. There's not a glass ceiling. There's a chance to grow. So is there anything else you're getting for the Sages with that?
Yeah. I think Sag is going to see like what it does look like if it's easy. The Empress, she doesn't like struggle to create her abundance. She just has to wave that scepter in front of her, and her wheat grows. So it's almost like, I'm not suggesting your life is going to be super easy, but it's like you're going to see what it would look like if it was easy. And I would embrace that with that card right there for sure.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too. Definitely. I love that. All right. Moving on to the Capricorns. What do you get for the next 3 months for the Capricorns?
Yeah, Capricorn, it looks good. Justice, Ten of Pentacles, and the Queen of Swords. So balance, I think justice is more cause and effect. I mean, Capricorn has learned what cause and effect even means over the past many years.
Mm.
That you've learned, like what happens when you do certain things. And Ten of Pentacles is wealth, which Capricorn loves. So I think that but it's like stable wealth. So, and that's the trick, I think, for Capricorn is no more, it's like I think Capricorn maybe has experienced certain levels of wealth in their life, certain levels of abundance, but then it goes away. And so I think what Capricorn is learning is like wealth that stays consistent. And Queen of Swords, like finally clarity. I do feel Capricorn is like waking up from a dream and like finally seeing things clearly in life, understanding like what they're supposed to be doing, where they're supposed to be going, like pretty much everything.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And of course, another repeating card here, I also got the 10 of Pentacles. We have 10 of Earth with this deck here. But definitely, I agree that there's been periods of stability, material resources. But because things are changing and because you've learned all these cause and effect things, it's made you a little insecure because you're moving in a new direction with how you operate in the world. Again, it's always like it's innovating the way you do things. And for Capricorns, it's now all about using your intuition, not just following the manual that has always worked in the past, right? And so for the Sedona deck, we have the Desert Spirit, love from the Creator, and I feel like that's supporting this idea of intuition. It's like we all have these natural born intuitive abilities, and it's a gift. It really is a gift that we have these things, and we're being asked to use these spiritual gifts in a new way. And then you have the ask for help from others, Capricorns, and that is not something you tend to do. You tend to want to do it all yourself because it's just easier to just get it done than to explain it or to ask for help. Okay, I'm a Capricorn rising. I'm calling myself out. And I know you have a lot of Capricorn energy, Chris. We were just talking backstage about the art of outsourcing, it's like, sometimes it's really easy just to do it yourself, but there is an art to outsourcing. So ask for help from others. This can be something as little as letting somebody clean your house for you so you have time for that new creative project or learning that new spiritual teaching. So I think that's really positive for the Capricorns. Anything else coming up for you?
Yeah, I was laughing when you said the whole thing about a manual, because I think that's when Capricorn really does well, is like when they have a plan to follow, like from someone else, and they can see. I think the challenge for Capricorn is like Capricorn, I think, can see things working before they work, and so that I think that's when Capricorn feels very motivated. Like someone comes to them and is like, follow this business plan, and it's been proven to work for these like 100 other people, and Capricorn will be like, great, and Capricorn will make it happen, right?
Yeah.
But that's like because of Neptune and Pisces, I wonder if I always think like Neptune and Pisces is the universe trying to get us to trust ourselves more. And so it's like the universe isn't bringing you a plan. The universe is like saying, no, you need to come up with your own business plan, Capricorn. And that's what I say this all the time to Capricorn.
Yeah, you do. I know. No, I think that's great. Really good for the Capricorns. Moving on to Aquarius. What do you have for the next 3 months for the Aquas?
Aqua, you have the Two of Pentacles, the Three of Swords, and the Seven of Pentacles. Definitely a change. I think that it's like when I was little, my brother and I and my parents, we went to the beach, and my brother was crying and saying, I can't see my home. My parents were freaking out because they were like, oh my God, people are going to think that we kidnapped our child, because he was scared because we walked out on the sandbar and he couldn't see the house, right? And so I think I don't know why that's popping into my head for you, Aquarius, but it is. I think that some of you, it's like this like reflection thing. It's like little kids at the beach, right? They'll be afraid of their shadow. Have you ever seen one of those little kids that's like, oh my God, what is this? Freaking out. And it's like, that's what this feels like to me for some reason, is like looking at parts of your reflection that you are kind of moving away from. But Seven of Pentacles is good because it would be like the self-reflection needed to say like, this is worth it, this is not worth it. So I do think a lot of this feels more personal, Aquarius. I don't know. That's what I feel. Three of Swords normally heartbreak, but I don't think it's heartbreak. I think this is a personal change that Aquarius is making. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I got the Five of Water card, Five of Cups for Aquas, and it's, you're crying over spilled milk, or you had these big high hopes for something and it didn't really go the way you wanted it to. But, something really struck a chord with you when you talked about the phrase not being able to see your home. That's how your brother felt. Like, I do think that sometimes it's just because you, like you said, it's a personal thing. Well, then just go home, like go ground grounds yourself. And because you guys have this ability to like bounce out into outer space when you need to. That's why you bring us all this innovation. That's why you bring us the technologies and the new ways of looking at things and the spiritual teachings, because you're able to go get them. But it's also like, well, where is my home? Where is my home? You know? And so it's just asking, just choosing to go home. I'm sorry, it's Wizard of Oz. Like, you have the power the whole time. Dorothy had the power the whole time to get herself home. So that's really interesting, because I just feel like with this Five of Water card, you're thinking there isn't a place where you feel at home, especially regarding your work. And really and truly, it's not true. We have the Lizard card. I thought you'd like that one, Chris.
I like it.
Yeah. Deck. It says the unexpected. And I think that's the other thing too, you know, just you guys are pretty good at expecting the unexpected, but the reason you're like, well, I can't see my home, or I can't see where I belong, is probably because you just need to go get more grounded in your day-to-day routine. And then you're going to have these unexpected opportunities coming in over the next 3 months. And then I also have the You're Ready card. So it's not going to be a matter of, okay, I have this new opportunity, but I'll do it next year. It's like, no, you're ready. You're ready right now. In the next 3 months, take action. You know what this is. You're good at like getting in there and solving the problem. So you're ready for this. So anything else coming up for you for the Aquas?
Yeah, it's crazy. For months now, they've been getting like, you are ready with me, it's time to go. Like, all those cards keep coming up for Aquarius. And so it's funny that you got it. I didn't get one of those cards. But, you know, what does come up for Aquarius is Two of Pentacles. Like, something is getting harder to ignore. You know, the waves start small over here, get big over here. Sometimes I think the Two of Pentacles is something in life that's like calling you to adventure, but you're just like ignoring it. And you're like, nah, that's not that big of a deal. But it's like getting bigger and bigger and bigger as it goes across the card. So I think it's time for Aquarius to like make a move.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. Love it. All right. And for the Pisces, what do you get for the next 3 months for the Pisces?
Pisces, you have the Strength card, you have the Five of Cups, and the Judgment card. We had someone else like this that was like, you know, it's like Cancer. The rotten apple that you are holding on to here, Pisces, that you have to let go of. The Strength card says you are like more than strong enough to let go of that like old story. You have more. There's like nothing more you can learn from something. Like, as a Pisces, I can say this. Like, I do think we, you know, like live through past things over and over and over again. We're like trying to get something out of it, or try to get some sort of spiritual lesson out of it. But at a certain point, it's just like a rotten apple, just nothing.
Yeah.
And the Five of Cups is like saying like, hey, there's something much better behind you, this bridge and this castle that you are ignoring. It's like, you're sick of this. You know, he's sick of drinking wine. That's why the wine is spilt over. And then you have the Judgment card, which is like, wake up, Pisces. It's time to wake up, answer the call. And, you know, I think a lot of Pisces, not that this is bad, but I think a lot of Pisces maybe over the summer will be like, wow, I could have done that thing much sooner. And like, you might take that risk, or start that business, or ask that person out, or whatever. And you're probably going to say to yourself, I should have done this months ago. So don't do that. Do it right now, today. Get started.
Yeah. That totally
Pisces
supports what I'm getting. I love that, because I have the Page of Air, or Page of Swords for Pisces for the next 3 months. And what I'm actually getting is like, there's something that you're waiting to put out into the world, or waiting to communicate with, or reach out. And like, it's like, now is the time to do it. Don't wait anymore, because, you know, you might miss the opportunity. Because I know sometimes this is like about getting, you know, truth delivered without tact, or like somebody younger just like blurting out something, and it kind of hurts. But I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about here. It's like, it's almost like you're afraid that if you communicate with others and you say what you want to do, and you do it, that it's going to come back on you in some way. But the only way to know is to do it. Because I also have the Mesquite card here. It says tenacious individuality. And I feel like this is just, you know, Pisces being okay with how unique they are and the gifts that they bring. And like, you know, you are who you are for a reason. And so the fact that I got the Romance card here, I have gotten a lot about relationships for Pisces this year. And it is a lot about putting yourself out there. So for those of you who are looking for a romantic relationship, I feel like it's time to be like really proud of how unique you are and what an individual you are, and like just be really stand in the love for yourself. And this could even come into like business relationships or new projects. It's like, if maybe you're waiting to put a book out there, you've been waiting to put, you know, something new out there, because you're waiting for it to be perfect, or you're waiting for the timing. It's like, now is the time to do it, but be proud of how unique it is. Because I think that's also with this romance card here too, is just like being in love with what you're sharing in the world or what you're bringing in the world. And I also am getting too, and I think this really kind of goes for all of us, especially since we're moving into the collective, that, you know, just finding more ways to enjoy the romance of life. Like if you're not literally looking for romance, maybe that's not something you want, or you don't have it, you already have it. It's like, but how can you add even more of that to where the days feel more like, what's this new trend everyone's talking about? Well, they've been talking about it, but the way that you live in France and you know, have wine with lunch and you take a siesta and you eat what you want. And it's like, there's a term for it. It's like the simple living.
No clue.
Okay. Well, anyways, it's popping
It doesn't
up
sound, I'm not very French. That doesn't sound like me.
Something I'm doing, it's popping up on all my feeds. So
that sounds like a fever dream to me.
Okay. Well, it's like slow living. That's what it is. I think it's slow living.
Oh,
and
got
it's
it.
the idea that you are like really present in the moment. And because I came across this video where this one French girl was talking about how like we don't get mad, we don't like feel guilty if we have a treat, you know, and then that therefore we don't really want it as much. It's not like something we're denying ourselves. So there's like all this philosophy that they have over there that we apparently don't have in our states. So, but it's just having that romance in your everyday life that I think is really going to benefit the Pisces in the next 3 months. Like how could you do things that just make things feel more loving and beautiful around you? So anything else have come up for you for the Pisces?
Yeah, love that. And, you know, strength, like, you said standing out in your uniqueness, and the strength card is about having the strength to do that. She is doing something crazy. She is putting her hands in a lion's mouth. And so I think it is time for Pisces to do the crazy thing, to do the thing that makes them stand out. I mean, Saturn in your second house. I mean, second house is like, you know, how you value yourself as well, or like what your value is. So, you know, I think Pisces will be dealing with this for a long time. Like, you know, kind of like showing their value, or, you know, how they put their value on display is going to be important.
I love that. And you just reminded me, I've heard some astrologers say they consider second house to rule groceries too. And we were just sitting there talking about what you eat.
Yeah, what you eat. Yeah, exactly.
So that's great for the Pisces. All right. Well, that looks really positive, really, for all of 12 signs. I think it's really great to do a bonus message here for the collective about the next 3 months, just so we can kind of make some plans and everything. So what are you getting for the collective for the next 3 months, Chris?
I mean, that cracks me up. First card, Aries, the Emperor, right? So definitely time for action. I think not doing the garbage with the Ten of Wands, because Ten of Wands is like other people's stuff, right? And even I feel this with this Aries energy. Like you could notice like people, you know, trying to paying too much attention to you and not themselves, right? Like that type of energy. Those types of people I would be careful of. People who are like, I need you to do this so that I can feel okay. I would avoid that with the Ten of Wands. But Ten of Pentacles, you know, a lot of success available if you put the work in for it. So I think that a lot of people, you know, putting the work in with the Ten of Pentacles, creating, you know, their great masterpiece. Now is the time before the robots take over, right? So, you know, if you want to create something great, now is the time.
Yeah. No, I that makes a lot of sense, because I also have the Knight of Earth card. Buckle down, get things done, focus. I feel like that's what Saturn and Aries is doing too. It's like, you know, it's like Saturn's the teacher, it's ruler of time. It's like, quit wasting time, you know, focus on the things you want. And, you know, I know there's a lot of astrologers out there talking about Saturn and Aries and, you know, what it represents with war and like looking at the past in the history, things like that. And that's very likely the case, something we might see, but it's not something that we need to focus on. What we need to be focusing on are the things that enrich our lives. And I like what you said about with the Ten of Wands, like taking on other people's burdens. It's like sometimes you're better off just like turning off that podcast or turning off that social media that's just, you know, putting the fear in everybody. And instead, you're going to focus on the things that make you feel strong and beautiful. We have Cathedral Rock here, and it says strength and beauty. So it's just about doing that work. It's like, well, what makes me feel strong? I don't feel strong if I'm sitting there listening to all this doom out there, right? So it's like, what makes me feel beautiful and like I'm doing something to contribute to the world? That's about taking action on those passion projects and doing the things you really want, because we also have the no need to worry card here. And I just think that a lot of us are going to see things happening on the wider world stage that may invoke worry. It may cause you to click on it and be like, well, what are they going to say about this? But I like what you always say, especially about the Knight of Swords. It's kind of popping into my head, or maybe it's the Knight of Fire, but the one where you say it's like, is it even true? Like they're like, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, and you walk out and it's like a beautiful day and everything's fine, right? So what comes up for you with seeing that?
I mean, that's exactly what I was going to say, is that I've been saying since 2023 that my concern is that people are just going to spend the next 10 years till 2033 worrying about everything. And they're going to get to 2033. They're going to look back and they're going to say, oh my God, I did nothing except for worry, and I didn't do anything that I could have done. So we all like need to do things to enrich our lives. 10 of Pentacles is ultimate enrichment, ultimate happiness, and this is what I've been begging people to create as much as you possibly can. And no, it's not easy, but you should still do it, right? So,
yeah, absolutely. I was listening to a podcast this morning about creativity and the frontal cortex, and the way that like it gets in the way of creativity, because it's like the newest part to the human species, but it's also the thing that's like, I've got to get up, I've got to drink coffee, I've got to go get this done. And you just go all day and have all this discipline. And then you come home and what you really want to do is just relax and enjoy and be creative. But it's really hard to do that if you're burned out from doing that all day long, because you only have so much stamina. So it's the creativity there that's going to really fuel the longevity and fuel that romance for life I think we all really want in our day-to-day life. We're not waiting around for it anymore. So I really, really like that. And you guys definitely go check out Chris's channel, chrisrec.com, and his other channel here on YouTube. I have it all linked below. I also have linked the other videos we've done together, especially the ones about this time next year, because it's kind of letting us know where we're headed, and just super fun ones. It's always so much fun to have you on, Chris. The time just flies by.
It does.
So thank you so much for being here. And you guys definitely go check out all his stuff so you can get started with the creative process. Or I know a lot of you are already doing it, just taking it to that next level. Right, Chris?
That's right.
All right. Well, any final words, Chris?
I have no words of advice today, so no, I guess not.
You already had a lot.
Yeah, I did. I already had a lot. Yeah.
All right. Well, go check out Menopause Tarot too, so you can listen to more advice for next week and what's coming up in the energies in June. So thanks again, Chris. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.